Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 2 and today we will be presenting topic material requirement planning, or also known as MRP. Before that, let me introduce our team members. First, Atirah binti Abdul Rahman, Faizatul Husna binti Rashid, Malana Akilah binti Muhammad Nur, and lastly Nabihah binti Ahmad Lutfi. I am Nabihah binti Ahmad Lutfi, and I will start the presentation by discussing what is material requirement planning. Material requirement planning is a method of estimating the amount of material needed for a production. If the manufacturing business is to meet demand, the availability of adequate production capacity must be coordinated with the availability of all raw materials and acquired things from which the end items are to be manufactured. In other words, material requirement planning (MRP) is defined as a manufacturing process management system that includes production planning, scheduling, and inventory control. It is a material control system that tries to maintain proper inventory level so that needed supplies are available when they are needed. So, MRP systems were developed to cope better with dependent demand items. Although most MRP systems are software-based, MRP may also be done by hand, but of course it would require more work to do manually. Let me share about the history of MRP in short. Inventory was recorded by hand until computer-engineered systems became common in the commercial sector. Users became aware of how inefficient hand-kept inventory was as time went on, creating a market demand for the most productive way. In the early 1950s, MRP was first computerized by aero engine makers associated with General Electric and Rolls-Royce. MRP was reinvented to use the Polaris program before it was commercialized. In 1964, in response to the Toyota manufacturing program, IBM's engineer Joseph Orlicki developed and formalized the MRP system. Then, MRP was released to specific individual businesses, and Black & Decker was the first company that used MRP. By 1975, MRP was used by over 700 companies as their inventory management system. Since 1975, the MRP system has been constantly updated to make it more efficient for businesses. And nowadays, MRP is one of the most common and widely used inventory management system in the world. Next is the objectives of MRP. First is to ensure that all materials, components, and products are available for planned manufacturing and delivery to customer. Second, to maintain minimum inventory while ensuring that the correct amount of material is accessible at the right time to make the right amount of finished goods. And lastly, to ensure proper planning of all manufacturing activities, delivery schedules, and purchasing activities, so that different job tasks are scheduled in such a way that idle time for machines and workers is minimized or eliminated. It is very crucial for a company to control the types and quantities of material they purchase, plan which products are to be produced, and in what quantities to ensure that they can meet current and future demand of their customers, all at the lowest possible cost. Making a poor decision in any of these areas may result in a financial loss for the organization. For example, a company may be unable to meet contract obligations to supply products on time if they purchase insufficient quantities of items used to manufacture their products. But at the same time, if the company purchase excessive quantities of an item, their money is wasted. Furthermore, the excess quantity ties up cash while it remains as a stock. Ordering the materials needed for production at the wrong time can cause customer deadlines to be missed. So, this may result to customer dissatisfaction that will affect their company's profit. Thus, MRP answers the questions what items are required, how many are required, and when are they required. Next, I will briefly explain the overview of material requirement planning. As you can see in the diagram, first, we need the input, which are material planning schedule, bill of material, and inventory status or record file to proceed with MRP processing. Then, after the MRP process, it will generate the MRP outputs, including 3 output of primary reports, which are plan order schedule, plan order release, and the changes to plan order. And for the secondary output reports, it have performance control report, planning reports, and exception reports. This will further explained by my fellow members.
I continue the presentation with MRP input. MRP need input to continue with its process. The informations input into MRP system comes from 3 main sources, which are bill of materials, a master production schedule, and inventory records file. So the first input is bill of materials. Bill of materials is a listing of all raw materials, component part, sub-assemblies, and assemblies that are required to produce 1 unit of a specific product. Each product may has its own bill of materials. Then, the bill of materials will be arranged in a hierarchy for the managers to visualize what materials are needed to complete each level of productions. MRP used the bill of materials to determine the quantity of each component that is needed to produce a certain number of finished product. So, from the quantity determined, the system will subtract the quantity of the item that is already in the inventory to determine the other requirements. The second input is master production schedule, which is outline the expected activities of the plant. It is developed using internal forecast and also external orders. It states the quantity of each product that will be manufactured and the time frame needed to manufacture the product. The schedule must cover the exact time frame to complete the final product, and the total production time must equal to the sum of a lead time, which is the amount of time that passed from the start of a process until its completion. And the lead time must include all related activities such as fabrications and assembly operations. The master schedule are often generated according to demand, which is without considering the capacity of a production. So, an RP system cannot tell in advance if the schedule is not attainable. So, managers may have to run several possibilities through the system before they find the best decision. So, generally, by using master production schedule, the system can determine how much time and labor are required to complete each step and when they need to happen, so that the productions can occur on time without any delays. The last input is the inventory record files. Inventory record file provides an accounting of how much inventory is already on hand or on order, and those information should be subtracted from the material requirements. The inventory record files is used to track information on the status of each item by a time period. This include gross requirements, scheduled receipts, and the expected amount on hand. It also includes other details for each item, such as supplier, the lead time, and the lot size. The lot size is a total quantity of a product order for manufacturing.
I will present the output in MRP system. There are 3 primary reports and 3 secondary reports of main output from MRP. The primary reports consist of plan order schedule, which outline the planned quantity of material that need to be ordered and the timing of future material orders in order to meet the requirement for production process. Next is the plan order release. These outputs refer to the authorized order to be made, which means that it indicates the date on which the order needs to be placed to receive goods on time. Lastly, changes to plan orders or order rescheduling, which might include cancellations or revisions of the quantity order or time frame. In addition, the MRP system may generate secondary outputs reports at the user request. The secondary output reports includes performance control reports, which are used to track issues such as missed delivery date and stockouts in order to evaluate system performance. Following that, there are planning reports that may be utilized to estimate future inventory requirement. Finally, exception report, which function to alert management on severe issues such as late order or excessive scrap rates.
I will continue with the steps in MRP. There are a total of 4 steps in MRP, and the first step is identifying requirements to meet demand. This step started with storing the orders made by the customers together with the sales forecast. To be more precise, MRP will use the Bill of Materials (BOM) required for the production to dismantle all demands into individual components and the raw materials needed to finalize the build while considering any required sub-assemblies. Sub-assemblies mean a unit assembled separately but designed to be incorporated with other units into a larger manufactured product. The second step in MRP is checking the inventory and allocating resources. MRP gives access to its users to check the customer's demand against inventory and allocating resources accordingly. By using MRP, the users can easily track what items are available in the inventory, the location of the stocks even if the company have multiple stores, the status of the items, whether it's still available or out of stock. MRP also shows whether the items are being allocated in what bill, and the items that are still in transit will also appear in the system. Then, MRP will move the inventory into the location accordingly and prompt reorder recommendations. The third step is scheduling production, where MRP will utilize the master production schedule to determine the amount of time and the number of labor needed in completing every step in each build. MRP will also decide when to run the process to avoid any delay in production, and the schedule also states when the deadline of each build is. In addition, the production schedule also provides information of what machinery and workstations are required in each step and comes out with a proper work order, purchase order and transfer orders. If there are any sub-assemblies required, the system will also schedule them accordingly. And the last step in MRP is identifying issues and make recommendations. MRP will notify the production team if the production is behind schedule, since it has direct link between raw materials and work orders and customer orders. Due to the delay, MRP will also provide some corrective actions to recover for the delay, such as MRP will automatically move the production in or out, generate the exception plans to complete the build, and also runs the what-if analysis. MRP offers a lot of benefits to the users, which will improve the production efficiency and productivity. One of the benefits that MRP provides is that inventory levels can be minimized. MRP provides information to the company on the minimum and maximum quantity of the stock levels needed to meet the demand, which can prevent stockouts. MRP system maintains an optimum level of inventory, which can help the company to reduce inventory carrying costs. With this benefit, the company can improve their stock levels efficiently. Apart from that, MRP eliminates clerical tasks such as pulling historical sales and existing inventory because the system requires little human intervention. Also, managers can spend less time in constructing the Gantt charts, and all data entry and calculation will be automatically updated by the system, which can also avoid miscommunication between departments. Since MRP requires little human intervention, mistakes made by human can be reduced and the accuracy of the data will increase. MRP also assists the company in purchase planning. Since MRP has
all data regarding every resource needed in the production, MRP can detect which material need to be restocked in order to meet the customer's demand. The smart system provided by MRP is useful in purchasing materials, where the manager can just configure the system to automatically contact the supplier for restocking purpose. And the last benefit that MRP can offer is the optimization of the workflow. MRP system provides data on the resources needed in the process, such as the number of raw materials and the amount of workforce needed, and also the amount of time needed to complete the process. When the MRP system has scheduled the resources needed for each bill, the company can avoid any wastage of resources from occurring.
Next is disadvantages of MRP. MRP system has benefits and also have several potential drawbacks. The first disadvantages is data integrity requirements. MRP relies on accurate input informations, and MRP also highly depend on having accurate information about input, especially on demand, inventory, and productions. Let's say if one or two of the inputs are inaccurate, errors can be magnified at a later stages and cause problem for the productions. For example, if a business has not maintained a good inventory records or has not updated its bill of material with all relevant changes, it may face serious problems with the output of its MRP system. The second disadvantage is lack of flexibility. MRP system must have an accurate master production schedule, good lead time estimates, and also a good current inventory records in order to function effectively and to produce useful information. So, any deficiency can delay the delivery of materials and also cause a wrong order quantities. So we can see that MRP system requires extensive maintenance of a well-built database. Third disadvantages of MRP system is system can be difficult, time-consuming, and costly to implement. Installation of the system is expensive and requires a substantial investment capital. Many businesses encounter resistance from employees when they try to implement MRP. For example, employees who once got with a careless record keeping may feel uneasy with the disciplines that MRP requires. Or departments that regularly face inventory shortage might find it difficult to trust the system and let go of that habit. So, MRP system needs a proper training to use the system, which is hardly to be implemented by a certain business. The last disadvantages of MRP is increase in inventory costs. MRP is designed to ensure adequate inventory levels at a required time. As a result, companies can be attempt to hold more inventory than is necessary, which will add up its inventory costs. MRP system also forecast a shortage sooner, which can lead to overstating inventory sizes and lead time. It usually occurs in an early stage of deployment where users have no experience to know the actual amount needed for the productions.
We'll be presenting the application of MRP in Alenia Aircraft. Alenia Aircraft is a leading firm in the Italian aircraft industry. It is involved in the production of complex aircraft parts and components. These components have different and often very long lead times, so this makes it difficult for Alenia Aircraft to maintain its production efficiency. Next, the application of MRP. About 10,000 different parts and components of Alenia have been managed through the MRP system. Alenia's aggregate production plans begins with the development of 5-year customer requirement plan, which is revived every 15 days according to the changes taking place. After that, the Master Production Schedule (MPS) is created using the information from the budget plan. Utilizing the information processed from the bill of material of the various aircraft and those concerning inventories, the MRP system of Alenia then come out with the material requirement flow. Next, we go to results from the use of MRP system in linear aircraft. In this industry, the implementation of MRP is a strategic factor. It allows for a reduction in stalls and a significant decrease in the cost of fixed assets, improvement in customer service, and an increase in the production efficiency of firms. Linear aircraft have been able to reap economic and strategic benefits thanks to the MRP system, where it has successfully achieved a greater flexibility, allowing it to respond more quickly to changes in demand and technical advancements. Its response time has been cut in half from 200 to 100 days, resulting in greater productivity and efficiencies. It also has resulted in a significant shift in supply frequency, which from 6 months to monthly or even weekly in some situations. Lastly, the adoption of MRP system has also improved linear aircraft cost performance through a reduction in the working capital related both to work in process and to raw material as well as component inventory. The reduction is estimated to be around 30%. As for the conclusion, MRP is a computer-based production planning and inventory control system that concerns with both production scheduling and inventory control. It is a system that attempts to keep adequate inventory levels to ensure that required material are available when it is needed. It also helps firms in many other aspects such as increase profitability and reduce cash outflow. That's all from us. Thank you.